It was Christoph's vision that Rose is very much a normal person in this unnormal world, but she does get to engage in stunts, which is like every actor's fantasy.
Steve Lasescu was the stunt coordinator on Silent Hill. I always want Steve on any size picture, big or small. He can make things happen safely and quickly and magically so that people can be transformed.
For a movie that is basically set out on the surface to be non-action, there are a lot of action elements incorporated throughout the entire filming of the project. Rhoda Mitchell and Laurie Holden both have an extreme level of attention to detail for every single action and reaction that they do.
I think that he made a great job training the actor how to move, how to shoot, how to jump, and be credible.
Can you do that with a skirt?
They want every bit of their performance to be as realistic as possible. It's an extreme amount of work for both of them, and the physical labor that goes into, as well as the acting that they have to do at the same time, has just gotten phenomenal as the days have gone on.
I've gotten together with him, and he's really helped choreograph these fight sequences.
I go through the whole sequence. He watches where my feet are, what foot I pivot on, where my weight transfer goes, when the ass baton gets snapped open, and what its arc is to make it look good for the camera. They ask these questions for every single action element that they do.
Yeah, so that's good. Hands look, cut.
Sybil just kind of takes me over sometimes. You know, I just get caught up in the physicality of it all. If you review the scene, you'll see that Sybil is not wearing any protective gear on her arms, and the miners are wearing these huge costumes with 1.5 inch thick metal underneath them. So every time I was hitting them, I was scraping up my arm, pretty much my right arm mostly, but both of them. And they were bruised and cut up and scabbed. But at the end of the day, it was so fun and exciting, and I look at all my war wounds as my badges of honor.
A typical shot on a lot of movies are done with stunt doubles. We shoot the actors' dialogue, then we cut to an over-the-shoulder shot where all we see is the back of their head, and we never actually see their face. When Laurie and Rhoda are in the small utility room, and Red Pyramid has basically cornered them in there, we did the opposite. We actually shot from the front face on, so we could see both Laurie and Rhoda's faces throughout the entire sequence.
I thought that I would just be primarily using my imagination. I never anticipated that there would be this huge blade that really was up against my neck. Steve Lasescu, I mean, really choreographed me going up against the wall, and I was that far away from the blade. 2, 3. I needed to get my head out of the way at the precise moment, or there could have been a problem.
For me, the scene in the boiler room was very much about playing limbo, because this big sword would come in and over the top of us, and I'd have to like bend back, try not to get my head cut off.
So we rehearsed it and rehearsed it and rehearsed it. The blade was coming in at a very slow speed at first, and then we doubled the speed and doubled it again and doubled it again until we got to the final speed that we operated it at.
That sort of athletic element of the film was fun, and I think it was something that both me and Laurie really enjoyed doing.
There's different elements that we use throughout the whole movie with Rhoda. She's got a wardrobe that isn't very forgiving as far as the ability to put pads on her. So we have to put her in a special skid plate that we can drag along the floor that's molded to her body. Because if we were to drag her across the rough surface of the floor, it'd just shred the wardrobe, and every take would mean a wardrobe change and on and on and on throughout the day. But by putting the safety elements into that, Laurie can basically just grab her, drag her across a floor and through a doorway. I think most actors love wire work because it gives them the ability to do a lot of acts that they would never be able to do without the assistance of the wires. We get to see their face on camera. They get to jump higher and jump further than they can physically do all by themselves. So they get to play, they get to have fun, and they get to see their faces on the screen doing it, and so do the audiences.
There is one scene, and I think it was one of my favorite days, where I come across a pit and I see Dark Alessa for the first time. And in order to get to her, I have to jump over all these metal beams.
Rhoda's background didn't encompass any kind of wire work. So we started working with her, putting her in a harness, walking her on the ground, then taking her in small little jumps. And she caught on extremely quickly. And she just wanted to do more and more. She wanted to see the stunt double, how the stunt double would do it, and then she just simply wanted to do it. We shot almost all the footage of her going across the beams, with it really being Rhoda Mitchell doing the jumps from beam to beam to beam all the way across.
It's okay. I'm coming. I'm coming over.
I actually did have to jump and sort of keep my balance, so there's a certain amount of terror on my face you'll see in those scenes, and a lot of that was real. And of course, if I was going to fall, I'd be caught on the cable, but for me it was quite exciting because I'd never done it before.
Sybil sacrifices her life. This character wakes up to a fire at her feet and dies by fire. How do you prepare for a scene like that? It was absolutely terrifying. It was boiling hot. I was on a 35-foot ladder with a metal harness that was digging into my skin, and they lowered me over a fire. There were real spikes coming out of the ground, metal and wood, with the fire, and all I thought was, as I was being lowered, one slip up and I'm impaled. So the terror and the fear and the heat was all very real.
They try always to find a place for the real actor to do their part in order to be as close to reality.
So if we can make each one of the shots incorporating the actors' faces, it makes it a great shot. They love it.